You're with Central ITV and the late news from ITN.
From the studios of ITN, the news with Nicholas Owen.
Good evening, welcome to the programme. Tonight's headlines. After General Pinochet's arrest in London, Britain insists he does not have diplomatic immunity. Plans to recruit more blacks and Asians into the police. And Mark O'Meara tames the tiger at Wentworth. Britain today defended the arrest of the former Chilean dictator General Augusto Pinochet. Ministers denied claims by Chile that he had diplomatic immunity. The Trade and Industry Secretary Peter Mandelson said Pinochet was a brutal dictator and called the idea of immunity for him gut-wrenching. Tonight, Pinochet remains under police guard at a London hospital. Lauren Taylor reports.
Outside the British Embassy in Chile, there was anger after Pinochet's arrest, which the Chilean government has described as a violation of his diplomatic immunity. But in London, relatives of those who disappeared during his regime are delighted. They've continued protesting outside the clinic where Pinochet is being held following an operation.
The fact that he's been arrested is really great news. He's been an untouchable person for the last 25 years in Chile. It's ironic that the British law have to arrest him while the Chilean law cannot touch him.
It was this high-profile Spanish judge, Baltasar Garzón, who requested Pinochet's extradition on allegations that he murdered Spanish citizens in Chile during his regime. While General Pinochet was in power between 1973 and 1990, thousands of people died or disappeared. Now, as senator, Pinochet arrived here on a diplomatic passport, but Britain insists it did not give him diplomatic immunity.
I think the idea that such a brutal dictator as Pinochet should be claiming diplomatic immunity, I think for most people in this country will be pretty gut-wrenching stuff.
The government today denied that Pinochet's arrest had come as a result of political pressure, saying the police had simply acted on the Spanish extradition warrant. Spain now has 40 days to provide police and a magistrate with details of their case, and the Home Secretary will then make a decision on whether to extradite him. Lauren Taylor, ITN, at the Home Office.
Police forces will be told tomorrow they must take on more black and Asian officers. The Home Secretary Jack Straw is considering setting specific targets on recruitment from ethnic minorities. Philippa Young reports.
Throughout England and Wales, there are 2,500 black and Asian police officers. That's less than 2% of the total number. The Home Secretary will tell the Black Police Association he's considering setting targets for recruiting more officers from the ethnic minorities.
At the moment, there's a disproportionate number of us at the sort of lower rungs of the ladder, and we want to see more career advancement and specialisms and reflecting more so the community we serve.
The Home Secretary's speech comes less than a week after the Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police admitted there was deep-rooted racism in his force.
GMP, therefore, has institutionalised racism.
And at the inquiry into the handling of the Stephen Lawrence murder investigation, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner admitted there was racism in the Met.
The fact that there have been problems, that there are problems, is no reason not to try to move forward and to move forward as quickly as possible.
In some areas of the health service, around a third of staff are from the ethnic minorities. The Home Secretary will be spelling out to senior police officers they must do more than just pay lip service to equal opportunities. Philippa Young, ITN.
A presenter from the BBC children's programme Blue Peter was sacked today after he admitted taking cocaine. Richard Bacon, who's 22, has apologised for his actions. Tonight, the BBC said it is sad that such a talented presenter has not only let himself down, but most important of all, he has let down millions of children. Tony Blair will tomorrow launch another attempt to break the deadlock over the decommissioning of arms in Northern Ireland. The Prime Minister will meet Sinn Féin's Martin McGuinness in London. He'll also hold separate discussions with the province's First Minister David Trimble, who said progress will only be achieved if Republicans act now. President Clinton flew into Maryland with his deputy Al Gore to try to breathe new life into the Middle East peace talks. In the last few minutes, it's been announced that negotiations between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat are likely to be extended tomorrow. And 2 nurses have been suspended from the Princess Alexandra Hospital in Harlow, where police are investigating injuries to premature babies. Essex detectives were called in after a 10-day-old boy suffered a broken leg. Farmers are given a cautious welcome to news that the government is to end the ban on beef on the bone. It's likely to happen within the next 6 months. Today, the Agriculture Minister Nick Brown says he's looking forward to his next T-bone steak. Ben McCarthy reports.
Campaigners have been arguing against the ban on beef on the bone since it was introduced by the government late last year. Today, meat producers said a lifting of the ban would be a huge boost for the meat industry and consumers.
It's good news for the British beef industry. It's good news for agriculture generally in this country at the moment. There's some lack of confidence generally in agriculture, but it's welcome news for the consumers who are able to enjoy their T-bone steaks and ribs of beef again.
British shops have been banned from serving beef on the bone at their meat counters for almost a year. But now the Agriculture Minister says British beef is as safe as any in the world. And soon consumers should be able to decide whether or not they want to eat it.
The cull of cattle over 30 months means that by March next year, all animals possibly affected by BSE will have been slaughtered. And that should lead to a relaxation of the strict regulations governing sales of British beef.
A lot of farmers are facing bankruptcy already, and if we can lift this ban, we will definitely put them back on the right foot to get up and running again.
And in another move that will please farmers, the Agriculture Minister has repeated his intention to get the ban on beef exports lifted by the end of the year. Ben McCarthy, ITN.
The actress Joan Hickson, best known as television's Miss Marple, has died aged 92. Her role as a shrewd detective made her an international star in a career on stage and screen which spans 70 years. John Brain looks back at that career.
Well, my dears, I do see what you mean.
Joan Hickson was Agatha Christie's own choice to play Miss Marple. The author wrote to her in 1946 saying she'd be perfect. But it was to be 4 decades before she became synonymous with the role of the spinster sleuth, and at the age of 80 found herself a cult figure in 32 countries.
Come on, please.
She'd already appeared in more than 100 films in a career which began in 1927. She was often cast as the elderly spinster, a role she first played